Good afternoon, New Independence Network. Hey, another update for today. There is a lot on the plate, so we have to talk about this. This is something to replay over and over again for those of us who have supported Donald Trump, those of us who have sat through the rhinos, the Republicans in name only, who have been handing over power and catering to the Democrats year in and year out. Those of us who have watched the establishment Republicans just happy enough to be able to control the purse strings in the House and Senate so they can make their money, but they don't care if they have actual power to reshape the fundamental of the government and the fundamentals of the government. They don't want to reshape it. These guys were just happy to go along, happy to have their $175,000 a year job and their perks and their kickbacks and money from their lobbyists. All these career politicians. This podcast, this update is for you to play over and over and over again, day in and day out, for years. So you remember what we need to do as conservatives for this country. It's interesting today because Rush talked about this, and I've been posting about this for a couple days. And Rush brought it up because the parallels are pretty similar in how you handle it. You have Democrats now talking about unity. Now, we talked about this in our larger podcast that was put up around 12:30 today, or 1:30 today. But Democrats are talking about unity. They lose and they say, we must be unified. We must learn to work together, which is what they say every single time they lose. Every time they lose, they talk about civility and unity and coming together and reaching across the aisle. That's what they talk about every time. Hillary said it in her concession speech through gritted teeth. Obama said it in his meeting with Donald Trump. Here's the sound.
I believe that it is important for all of us, regardless of party and regardless of political preferences, to now come together, work together, to deal with the many challenges that we face. And most of all, I want to emphasize to you, Mr. President-elect, that we now are going to want to do everything we can to help you succeed, because if you succeed, then the country succeeds.
He says, work together. Let me explain this to you. And I think Donald Trump is smart enough, and I hope he is smart enough to understand this. Democrats have no desire to work together. They never will. They never will want to work together. Their entire objective is to destroy conservatism, is to destroy Republicans. Their entire objective is to fundamentally reshape, which is what Obama wanted to do, fundamentally transform the United States of America into a socialist, government-dependent, big government society. That's what they want to do. They don't care one iota to work together. Don't even want to entertain the thought. They say it because they want to seem conciliatory and nice and cordial. But they don't want to do it, and don't you believe it. You see, what concerns me a bit is Donald Trump is one that is quick to forgive. Who's quick to forgive. He's praised Ted Cruz. Then he went after Ted Cruz when Ted Cruz was against him. And then he welcomed Ted Cruz back into his tent when Ted Cruz said he was going to work with him. Democrats, they don't work that way. Some Republicans might, but the Democrats will not. We have to look, what we've done here is something monumental. In 2008, Barack Obama wins. Now keep in mind what the Democrats and the DNC propaganda media had done for 2 years. Once the Democrats took over the House and Senate in 2006, for 2 full years, it was a non-stop barrage and decimation of George W. Bush. They did not stop. They would not stop. They ruined his character. They besmirched him on a regular basis. They chastised him, criticized him, called him names. They made movies about the assassination of George W. Bush, presented him in other movies as a dunce, as incompetent. They went after him with full barrel, blamed everything on him. And it wasn't the truth, but they made it the truth. Because as Goebbels said, repeat a lie long enough, people will begin to believe it. And that is what the Democrats did. They had no desire to work together with Bush when they took over the House and Senate in 2006. Did they work with Bush? Absolutely not. They destroyed George W. Bush. They went after everybody. And when John McCain went to run against Barack Obama, they went after John McCain with both barrels. With both barrels. They couldn't make fun of him because he was a veteran. They couldn't make fun of him because he was a POW. But they went after him for being old and being Bush number 3, Bush part 3. They went after Sarah Palin and destroyed her. They were sexist. They were ageist. They were vicious. Democrats didn't care. They had no desire to work together. They never will. And what happened? Barack Obama comes on. Democrats are in charge of the House and Senate for 2 years. They couldn't accomplish anything in those 2 years. They could have, but they didn't. I don't know why, but I think it was so they could preserve, well, I heavily believe it's so they could preserve the second term of Obama. You're figuring, we don't want to do anything too dramatic because then we might lose the presidency. So we want to kind of keep it under wraps, and then when things go crazy, we can blame the Republicans, and then we can get elected again in 2012, which they did. They didn't work together. And when the Republicans won 900 seats between the House and Senate, 900, something along those lines. When the Democrats took over the House and Senate again in 2010, it was a huge upset, huge. That's a moratorium on Obama. Did they work together? Republicans had the majority in both the House and Senate. Did they work together? Or at least the House. Did they work together? No. They refused. Did Republicans try? Yes. They tried to pass bill after bill after bill. And Harry Reid sat on those bills. 350 bills he wouldn't let go through Senate. 350. 2012 election comes up. They attacked Romney, went after everything about him. Now, it's politics. I get it. I understand the game, but they're vicious. So Obama wins the second term, saying, I need more help. Economy was so bad, I couldn't fix it. I need more help. Need more time. Okay, fine. So he got his more time. And what happened? People still weren't happy. The country was still going down the wrong path. The first movement was the Tea Party. The first big shift was 2010. That was the Tea Party. The next shift came in 2014, and we won even more seats. And we're talking all across the country, governorships, legislators. Republicans are taking over everywhere. Conservatism was the second move. Conservatism was the second move. That was 2012. Did they want to work with us? That was at the time when, and I said this in the full broadcast, that was the time when Joe Biden and Barack Obama sat in an office with Mitch McConnell and John Boehner, and he looked at them, that is the head of the Senate and Speaker of the House. And they sat down, and Biden looked at them, because Biden knows the game. He knows how they kind of work together, kind of, at least in the House and Senate. Kind of like a fraternity over there. And he goes to his guys and says, okay, what do you want? Meaning, you guys won. So what do you want? Which is what you're really supposed to do. And Obama says, nope, We're not doing it. Shoots him a look and says, no, we won and you're going to listen to me. So Obama has no desire to work with Republicans. None. And it's not just Obama. It's the culture of Obama. The Elizabeth Warrens, the Chuck Schumers, the Nancy Pelosi's. They don't want to work together. They want to destroy the Republicans. They are full of hatred and vitriol and venom. And that's what they're doing. So, we won all those seats back. No unity. They don't even say, we have to unify. No, they don't care about unifying because they still held the presidency. Fast forward now to 2016. Republicans, conservative Republicans, win. Huge. We hold the House. We hold the Senate. We have full control, House and Senate. Harry Reid's old seat in Nevada goes to a Republican. And now they're saying, we have to work together. We have to have unity and come together as a nation. No, we don't. You, Barack Obama, you, Elizabeth Warren, Chuck Schumer, all the other Democrats, liberals, all of you have to now wait in the back of the line like you made us wait. That is how we need to approach this. We cannot just sit there and say, well, okay, now that we won, let's get along, because the second we reach across the aisle with one hand, they will stab us in the back with the other. Guaranteed. They do it all the time. They did it to Bush when he reached across the aisle, when he was elected. They'll do it to Trump. They'll do it to anybody on the Republican side. And the problem that we have is that not only does Trump have to fight the Democrats, he has to fight the establishment rhinos. All these career politicians that we talked about. All these people who love the money, can't get rid of the power. They have to have it. He has to fight against them too. We have to fight against them too. We have to hold them accountable. We have to stop all of the establishment rhinos, the establishment Republicans, and the Democrats. We have to fight against all of them to stop them from taking back what we earned. We worked hard to get this. Now we have control. Now we can reshape the culture, potentially for generations. Think about this. At least a generation. At least. Trump can potentially be seating 4 Supreme Court justices. 4 who can be very constitutional and conservative-minded. Democrats will fight it tooth and nail, but he has to drive through his agenda. The Republicans have to be strong and fight. Do we let our enemies just go on with their life after we beat them? Think about that. I'll give you 2 examples. One where we did, and one where we didn't. Let's start with one where we didn't let them go on with their lives. World War II. World War II. We beat Japan. Japan signed the treaty. Douglas MacArthur moved in with his people to Japan, and they took over the government. And they said, okay, this is how you're going to run things. We're going to stop propaganda. We're taking over your airwaves so you cannot have any other propaganda to cause uprisings. We're going to monitor everything you do. You're not allowed to have a military. And we're going to put your government in place and build it. And we're going to put 20,000 troops in Japan for 7 years to ensure a peaceful transition to the way we want you to be. And they did. And to this day, as part of the treaty, Japan still doesn't have a military. They don't have an active military, still to this day. They are prohibited from having that. But look how great Japan's doing under our tutelage. That worked. Let's go to see the one that didn't work. Iraq. Bush had it set. A 20,000 troop contingency force will be left in Iraq to oversee the transition to a democratic Iraq. Help develop their troops, give them support, keep away the enemy. Barack Obama comes in and says, I want the troops down to 10,000. So the general said, he said, I want the troops out. I'm sorry, I want the troops out. I want the troops out. General said, well, how about 10,000? No, it's too many troops. How about 7,500? No, that's too many. How about 3,000, President Obama? 3,000 troops, is that enough? He went, oh, well, I guess that'll do. And at that point, the leader of Iraq, Hamid Karzai, says, what? That's insulting. How are you going to protect us with only 3,000 troops? That's an insult. If you're going to just leave us 3,000, just take them all out, which is what Obama wanted in the first place. So now we have to leave, take all of our troops out, and what happens? ISIS moves in, takes over Iraq, undoes the good work that we did. And now we have to fix it and work twice as hard, 3 times as hard to fix it. Once again, a mess is left because we didn't put the final nail in the coffin. We cannot handle this victory over the Democrats like Obama and Democrats handle Iraq. We have to handle it like Japan. We have to take it over, step on their necks, and keep fighting back. We don't rest on our laurels. We don't take a break. It's a constant siege because, believe it or not, they're not going to stop. They haven't stopped already. They're still going. You think those protests that are happening are organic? Those student protests that are happening in the cities, New York and LA or wherever it is, Oakland, Chicago? You think they're organic? No. James O'Keefe from Project Veritas already has photos of buses of people being brought in for those protests. These are bought and paid for by the DNC and George Soros. Bought and paid for. It's done. They're already going. They're going to pretend. Their heads will say, we want unity and we want peace. But you know what? The underlings, the marching orders are totally different. You think the media is going to be conciliatory at all to Trump? Hell no. They already started attacking him. Already. On election night. They didn't even waste time. They went after him right away with all the same talking points they used during the election. They will do everything they possibly can to delegitimize Donald Trump and delegitimize this movement. And we cannot stop. We can never relent. Play this over and over and over again. Whenever you feel down, whenever you feel like you're losing your fire, you play this because they're not going to stop. They want to change the entire country, and we want to change it the way it's supposed to be, in control of the people, not the government. Let the businesses run themselves. Keep the government out of the picture. Strong military, strong borders. This is what we want. We want to be an independent country and do it the right way. Stop being ripped off. Democrats don't care about that. And they'll keep fighting. So remember, never trust a Democrat when they say they want unity. This is their ploy. This is what they're going to do. Think about it. Japan versus Iraq. Which one was a success? Japan was. Step on their necks, put them in the corner, shove them to the back of the line, and make them wait their turn because they're not going to get it. We keep fighting and keep going forward. And keep loading for bear every single day. Okay, that's the update. New Independence Network. Go USA, let's work hard.